Hi, everyone. Well, maybe. There it goes. Hi, everyone. Sorry, I had to make sure it was actually kicking off here. Hopefully, I set this one to private again. For those of you that are new, hello, and new subscribers and everything, this will look like a live stream, but I'm actually using YouTube's live stream recording software to record my videos, at least some of them. It's a whole lot easier to process them, and I don't have to load them. I get a lot better sound and video this way. That may change over the weekend, as I'm going to make an effort to find some other softwares. So anyway, so please don't be confused by that. I'll probably leave that in the description. Holy moly. Has November been a month? Yes, it's been a month, obviously, but I guess in the whole spell of, it feels like it's been 2 or 3 months. When I actually look back and look through my list of completed pages, I could have sworn a lot of these were done in October, but no, they were done in November. I've had a busy coloring month. I've had a busy all-around month. And where I haven't felt well enough to really do much, even just basic stuff around the house, I have been able to sit and color, and let me tell you, it helped get me through the month. I have news to share on that front, and it's good news. I will probably do that in a carefree coloring video on Sunday, I think, is what I've got planned. We'll talk about that in a minute, though. We need to get to it because there's a lot of pages. One of the things I've started doing is I bought these little tabs. And yes, I know my handwriting's atrocious, but I bought these little tabs to add to this, and I just bought a little journal at Walmart. I think this is also a Pen Gear brand. And basically what I'm doing is I'm creating a coloring history, and I'm going to start back in March. And I left a few pages at the front for various things I might need, but I'm going to have to roll back to March, and I want to go ahead and start documenting what pages I complete, what I used, just basic stuff like that. And then if there are some interesting swatches and stuff, hopefully I can put those at the back of the book, interesting combos, things like that. The only one I have filled out right now is November. Yeah, there it is. And well, if the autofocus will work, come on. You can do it. And give everybody a headache. Okay. Hopefully that helps a little. But as you can see, we have quite a few to cover. I had 4 pages, and I actually used 3 of them. So I didn't want to write on the back as the pen was bleeding through. But this will make things a lot easier, especially when I'm going through them like I am right now. I also have it noted with an asterisk if I've cut that page out, and I'm going to be keeping those in a binder as well. There's no real rhyme or reason to that. There's just sometimes I feel like pulling them out of a book, and sometimes I want to leave them in there. So I will be referring to this off camera if I have a place for it. Close enough. I'm in a very cramped space. I have 2 cat beds set up in my space, and I have 2 cats sleeping in those cat beds. So I'm having to basically scoot things around them so they don't just end up in my lap. This is root beer, not actual beer. Please do not confuse that. It is, however, almost 5 a.m. on Saturday morning. I was cranky last night. Apparently I needed a nap. I ended up sleeping for 2 hours, and I haven't been able to go to sleep tonight. So we're going to go ahead and get done with this, because who knows what time I will get up today. All right. First up is Fairy World. And these are in no particular order, because some books I have multiple pages. So if there is something significant to, like this one was the very first completed picture I had this month, I'll go ahead and note that. But other than that, just assume that they're kind of out of order. Yeah, this is gonna be dicey. There we go. My lap is useful for something other than holding cats. So Fairy World by Barbara Lanza. I am going to pull this camera back. It's the first thing I'm going to do. And hopefully that will also help with the focus. There we go. I picked this book up at Ollie's. It's really neat. It has coloring suggestions and kind of mini tutorials at the beginning. And now I've lost my place because I took my paper out. I had the paper in there for a reason. There we go. So this was the first picture I completed this month. I used Sharpies and gel pens on the picture itself. And then I did my not my very first pastel background. My first pastel background was in Lost Ocean by Joanna Basford. And that attempt, I was basically trying to create like a halo effect around the fish, and it looked like it was swimming in like pea-infested waters. So y'all can just hang up the fact that I have absolutely no filter right now, but hopefully I can restrain myself simply due to exhaustion. Anyway, this background was much, much better with the chalk pastels. And I used like a glitter gel pen on the hydrangea or tree or whatever that's supposed to be. You can see a little bit of the shimmer and a few places on her wings and such as well. I really got interested in the pastels, and I used them to do a little bit of shading as well. And I love how she turned out. I have not sprayed this yet with fixative, which is why I have this in here. I do need to get on that pronto. Next up, we have one of probably two of my favorite books right now. Well, come on, camera. There you go. Man, we were having some issues this morning. Not just me. The camera evidently is exhausted too. Costume Cats by Jade Summer. This was a new book a couple months ago. I absolutely love it. From October, I only had one picture completed, which was that, and we've seen that. Now, this was the first one I did in October. This is gel pen. Well, it's water-based marker, a super tip, a whole bunch of like Sharpies and Bics. I used Derwent Crayola watercolor pencils for the brush back here. Used marker for the stones and everything. A little bit of Prisma to add that pink hue to her skin. And just a bunch of different things. I love how this turned out. It's absolutely gorgeous. I thought there's a little bit of shimmer to the leaves on her dress. This was one of the ones I did this month too. This was I am feeling really lousy today. I just want to grab some markers. I'm not worried about lines. I'm not worried about anything. I'm just going to put down what color I think I want this to be. And while I'm not 100% thrilled with it, it serves its purpose. It helped me kind of chill out and move on to other coloring projects as well. This was kind of I'm still groggy and I need my morning coffee kind of picture. Then I have Mobster Cat. I love how this one turned out. This was a picture I didn't really want to color, but because I want to try to go front to back with this book as much as possible, I went ahead and did it. And I went with different colors than you would typically expect. Love how it turned out. I use Crayola Super Tips, Bics, Sharpies, Cali Arts, and Shuttle Arts on this. Cowboy Cat. This was a carefree coloring. I used mostly Rose Art and Crayola markers with just a little touch of gel pen on his belt buckle and on the spurs and things like that. So just a little bit. And this was a lot of fun too. All right. So I think that's that one. Yep. Now we have, okay. Jeez. Sorry, everyone. We have Nice Kitty. This is zendoodle coloring. There is not really a artist, I don't believe. It says St. Martin's Griffin Publishing. So, again, really different kind of book. Can't remember. I think I found this on Book Outlet. This was the picture I colored this month. This was all done with gel pens. I think mostly scribble stuff and maybe some Artezas and who knows what else. It was a random box of gel pens. Y'all have seen my big gel pen review with like 10 different, trust me, it was a big box of random gel pens. I recognize the scribble stuff and the INC ones past that point, and the color, it's because they have names. Past that point, I have no idea. But the kitty turned out really pretty. This is a color scheme that you will see quite a bit. The purple, the blue, and the green. I don't know why, but I'm really drawn to this right now. And the kitty's just shimmery all around. I love it. I love how it turned out. It's very, very simple, laid back coloring, but I got a really pretty result. I think this was my only coloring chat this month because life got kind of busy. This is Spring Awakening. It is a zendoodle color by number book by Deborah Muller. I wanted to try a color by number book with watercolor pencils, and this was our end result. Again, I love how this turned out. I used all the watercolor pencils just about that I had to test out. I had Crayola, Derwent, Albert Dürer. As I get more wore out, apparently, the more I mumble. It's bad enough with the accent. Let's not make it worse. Hero, Wan Shui, and Magic Fly pencils. Those last three I'm not particularly thrilled about. They are what created kind of the streaky stuff. But the Derwents and the Faber-Castell, Albert, whatever they're called, those did really well though. And I went ahead and one of my Christmas presents was the set of Faber-Castell, the complete set of the Albert Dürer watercolor pencils. So, and I'd already had the Derwents, so that was pretty awesome. Didn't have time for any more coloring chats. Hope to change that in December. Light and Dark Fantasy Grayscale. I love this book. The first one I colored, again, for some random reason I cut this one out. This one I don't 100% love. I was in a weird place when I was coloring this. It was election night. Some of my friends had run in the election, and one in particular was voted back in, one was not, and it was just, and then we found out my husband's grandfather passed away, and it was a very strange night. I couldn't sleep, so I grabbed this book and I started coloring. I went way too dark on the horse. I washed out a lot of the grayscale, but I feel like I managed to kind of rescue it a bit, and I'm happy with how it ended up turning out for the most part. I'm not thrilled with it, but I'm cool with it. Good lesson in don't give up on a picture. You can find ways to work around something even if you think it's a mistake. I use Crayolas, Bics, and Prism markers on this one. There's one more. Again, I am not consistent with cutting them out and leaving them in the book yet. This one, though, I'm so much happier with. I went a whole lot lighter with my markers, and I got a lot better results. I was not feeling very inspired with my palette, so I went searching online. I knew I wanted to do the teal type color, and I just found a palette that I could base it off of, and this turned out fantastic. I love the skin tone for her. I love everything about it. And fortunately, the reason I had colored this picture is I had been helping out a friend of mine that day, and I don't know, my subconscious was sort of in that whole, strong women warriors and things like that, and I guess subconsciously that's why I was drawn to this picture. I sent this to her, a picture of it, and said, I should totally give this to you and let's hang it on your wall. She's all for it. So this will be my first official coloring page gift to someone. So I'm pretty excited about that because it turned out great. I even kept her hair gray. I still went over it with a gray marker, but I just thought that would be a really cool effect. It's silvery kind of gray, and it really turned out nice. And that was also Sharpie's Bics, Amazon Basics, and a little bit of gold gel pen. Onwards and upwards. Told y'all there's a lot here. If I am reading this correctly, I should have stated this at the beginning. I colored one page in 15 new books this month. And I believe I had a total of 24 coloring finished pages. I know. Oh my goodness, why? But I'm trying to go over this as quick as I can. Wonders of Creation. This is by, it says illustrations to color and inspire. I do believe there is an artist name. No, it's Zondervan Publishing. This was like a little test page. Where'd it go? Unfortunately, when I broke the spine in on this book, pages started falling out. So I was a bit bummed about that. This one I was working on as I was doing the coloring chat to get a little more practice with the watercolor pencils. Once again, I used, I think, all of them but the Crayolas, and I was so frustrated with the Magic Fly and the Wanshui pencils. I think that's right. Whatever type brand, Hero brand pencils that, and halfway through, I just went ahead and went with my Derwent set, and I was so much happier with the end result. I was able to go over, and watercolor pencils are very forgiving. You can always go back over them if you need to reactivate them. You can layer up on them a little bit if you want to create a blend. But I love how this turned out in the end. Then we have, hang on, let me turn my page, and y'all can stare at a blurry screen for a minute. Let me go ahead and throw this up there. Maybe it'll focus. I don't know what is going on with this camera tonight. I've never had this happen to this level. All right, Butterfly Mandalas, Creative Haven. It is by Joe Taylor. This was my first page out of this one as well. I wanted to test my Black Widow pencils, which I hadn't had a chance to yet. I love those pencils. I absolutely just love them. I used to think that Artezas were probably the closest in softness to Prismas. Prisma Premiers, I have now shifted that to where I think, honestly, the Black Widows are not quite as soft as a Prisma, but I mean, Prisma Premier, but I mean, what is? But they're a whole lot closer than the Artezas are. I love them. I used a brown Sharpie for the background, no, a brown Bic, and I would recommend either getting bigger markers or just painting it. I haven't had a lot of experience with painting with acrylics yet, so I was not brave enough, and I regret that now. This month also came about with we also went into new territory with my first speed coloring video. I took the second page out of Color Quest. Again, another book that I want to try to color front to back. This is by Joanna Webster. Huge book, as you can see. I am not looking at the images at the back when I color these, so it was a complete surprise to me, which is probably pretty realistic considering what it ended up being. I'm going to have to move the mic. There we go. So yes, the speed color, about a third of the way through, I figured out it was indeed a sugar skull. And had I known, I would have colored it last month, but I don't want to peek. I'm really enjoying not knowing what these are and trying to figure it out as I go through. Anyway, people seem to really enjoy the speed coloring. They also seem to enjoy the fact that I talked a little bit about it and a few other things instead of doing music. So moving forward, when I do speed colors, I'm going to try really hard to do that. I think that took about 4 hours, which honestly, depending on what I'm using, is kind of speedy. I guess because I just used markers like Sharpies and Bics and all kinds of things with that one. Magical Mermaid Kitties. This was also a first page one. I had gotten a 12-pack of, this is by Deborah Muller. By the way, it is a zendoodle book. The front cover was ripped. Not ripped, but it's almost like it was cut. I gotten this from Book Outlet, and at the end of the day, for a couple dollars, I don't really care about that. It's still, the pages inside are fine. Wanted to try out my Blick Studio markers, so I used the set to color this image, and then I used a white Posca pen for the bubbles and like the little white dots and detail work. I love the Blick Studio markers. They are I mean, I love my Prismas too, don't get me wrong, but the Blicks, to me, color the same way the Prismas do, and the Blicks have refills. So sadly, I will probably be phasing my Prismas out in favor of the Blicks. I will be buying those. Actually, I've already purchased them. Not the whole set. I'll have to explain that one later. All right. Snow White. Whenever you decide you're going to... This one doesn't even want to focus. It's like, forget it. There we go. It's getting mad. It's throwing a tantrum now. John at the Bibliophile Colorist did a color along for November. It is the Fabiana Attanasio color along. I've had 2 or 3 of her books, and until I actually pulled them off the shelf to color in this month and last month, I didn't realize how much I loved these books. So I'm so glad somebody did a color along, because otherwise they probably would have sat up there for many more months. Which one is... Oh, this one's from this month. I colored one last month. That was the very first one I had colored. Anyway, I was trying to do a similar approach to what John was doing, though I was using different books. Sorry, hang on a second. I have a candle lit over here, and the last thing I need is a coloring book catching fire. As we've discussed before, apparently me and fires are not a good mix, so let's not stack the deck against me on this one. There we go. It takes the shine off. Obviously, this was colored using gel pens. Quite a few glitter ones as well. John had colored out of the Pinocchio book. These are all fairy tale books of hers. So I have Snow White, Peter Pan, and Alice in Wonderland. There's also Wizard of Oz and Pinocchio. I think those are the only other 2. Anyway, he used gel pens in Pinocchio. Since I didn't have that one, I ended up using them in Snow White. This was all kinds of different gel pens, and I love how it turned out. There is definitely some shimmer and some sparkle, as you can see. And it did. I love the bright green of the apple. Gel pens are interesting to color with, because you talk about something that doesn't have any color names except for the color. It is really hard to... You have to do a lot of scribbling if you haven't taken time to like put tape or something on them and swatch them. I also did I colored the same page in Alice in Wonderland that John colored with. He used water-based markers, like I think Crayolas and Rose Arts, ones like that. I used water-based markers as well, but out of curiosity, I wanted to try my Tombos. They've been sitting very neglected for months and months, and I was getting pretty frustrated with them. Tombos go down beautifully in these books. If you happen to have a book, one of these books, and you have Tombos, they go down beautifully. You have to be a little careful. You can't just keep working at it, because it's going to damage the paper, which I ran into a little bit with the skin tones. They look better on the camera than they do in person. But anyway, so Tombos, they blended beautifully. You can see a little bit of the difference in the hair and the dress itself. I had a lot of fun with them. I have big plans for my Peter Pan book using Tombos as well. Couldn't get to that this month. The background is chalk pastels, clear stickles, and then a white Posca pen to kind of give the little sparkly kind of dots and things like that. Again, have not sprayed that with Fix-Stiff yet, which is why there's a paper in there. I need to get on that so it doesn't all rub off. Floral design. In a minute. Okay. I would really like to redo this so it didn't do that, but honestly, I'm wore out and I would like to just go ahead and get this done. I mean, I'm glad to do it. It's just, yeah, I don't know. It's been a really long week and I'm worried I'm going to sleep like half the day tomorrow. This is the second book to, I'd say, Costume Cats in terms of, I'm not really sure which book I'm going to finish first. Probably Costume Cats. But Zoe Archer really got me onto Color by Numbers, and I Just love them. Absolutely love them. You can see by how many pages I've done with them this month. And I'm trying different things. So this was one of my pages this month. This was from last month, I think. You can tell they're really juicy markers because of that background too, or how they bled through the paper. Always put something behind your one-sided sheets. This was some water lilies. I think this was just Bics and Sharpies. I use my budget-friendly markers for these. And I also pull out my Blicks and my Prismacolors because this is a little bit nicer quality paper. So I'm less concerned that they will... See, look at that. Isn't that awesome? It's almost as cool on the back side as it is the front. And this one I finished tonight. And it turned out beautiful. I absolutely love this. This might be, well, I can't say it's one of my favorites in this book. It's a tough one. But this one did include Prisma markers and mostly Bics. I don't even know if I used Sharpies. I was trying to see if I could find the jar. No, I already took that back in the living room. I have a set of budget-friendly type markers, like extras of the Bics and Sharpies that I have. Sorry, my mic cord for some reason keeps getting in the way. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's what tonight. It is not cooperating. I will say that. Nothing seems to be cooperating tonight. Anyway, there's that one. I told y'all, hope you got a drink and a snack. Hope you didn't have to go to the bathroom. Of course, you can always pause it. Oh, with that rose one, I wanted to show y'all. This was the page I used behind it. There we go. And you can see, I mean, it bled through the page itself, but look how much it bled through onto that page. So that's a reason why you certainly want to do that with markers, but I'd even do it for colored pencil just in case there's any indentations if you are pressing down. So some of you may not be aware, because this was one of their earlier books, I believe, but Jade Summer has a Animals Grayscale coloring book as well. And this one's really neat. This is, I have one, I think it's called Beautiful Creatures. It's really similar type photos. I'm trying to find one that is not landscape. They're all landscape. Look at that. By the time I turn these over, we're going to come across a page that isn't. But look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh my gosh. These are intimidating for me, but I wanted to challenge myself this month, and so I did this page. I had started this as a tester page for a big Jade Summer book review I did months ago where I was testing all different types of mediums. I used some Verithins, Prismacolor Verithins on the flower, and I liked the colors I was using, and so I decided to just go on with that and expand it out. This was all done using Prismacolor Verithins. I love the flower petals, not so much the center. I didn't really know what to do with that. I'm assuming this is a guinea pig. This guinea pig looks fantastic. I was very careful with the guinea pig. Like, I had 3 or 4 different pencils, and I was trying to use the flicking motions as much as I could to keep the fur looking pretty intact, and it did beautifully. And then I love the green background. Table, not so much, but overall, this is probably one of my favorite pictures that I've ever done. So, definitely going to be doing more. Usually when I did quite a bit of colored pencil work this month, which, again, I've wanted to challenge myself. The only problem is a lot of times I have to give myself a break in between that and go back to marker. This is also by Jade Summer. I'm a Jade Summer fanatic. Anybody who's watched this channel for more than a couple weeks probably has figured that one out. Hadn't colored anything in this before either. I did I believe it was it was the second page where Cinderella gets her little coach. I started off, this was just going to be a straight color marker. And when I got to her dress, I got to where I wanted to blend. And so I pulled out the markers and I blended on with her dress. Her hair didn't turn out as much as I wanted, so I went over it with a slightly darker marker, and I love the tone it gave. It wasn't such a bright color. And I shaded the leaves and the pumpkins, and I love it. It's It's not easy to shade in a Jade Summer book, but it is possible if you're willing to be patient with it. And then I just pretty much covered it in glitter gel pen, the blue in particular, and it's beautiful. I love how it turned out. There were very few pages I did this month that I was like, I don't really like this one. Uh-oh. We're gonna have to pull these up off the floor. See, I ran out of room. Oh, had to stack them on my floor. We were getting down to it, so that's good. All right, Posh Coloring Book, Cats and Kittens. Oh, okay. I don't think that was the one I colored. No. I was testing out, I did a lot of test pages this month for products. This was the test page for the Pen Gear Walmart, they're fashion gel pens, and the brand is Pen Gear, but it's basically like a Walmart brand. And they're fantastic. And now it's going to act up on me again. Okay, so we're not going to leave that stack there. We're just going to pull this down there. And we're going to close the book too. No matter how much I organize my space, it always seems like there is just never enough room. I don't think there ever could be enough room, no matter how much surface area I had. But no, the glitter gel pens were very shimmery. Nice and juicy pens. I was able to blend with them really well. This was another one I just started at random. It turned out pretty cute. I liked it. Now, those pens are pretty juicy, and like I said, they did bleed through. This is two-sided, so keep that in mind. Didn't really care about losing the back image on that one. Coloring Bliss, artist Jennifer Stay. I ordered a custom coloring book from her site, coloringbliss.com. Really unique offering, and you can pick the different types of paper. I chose like a mixed media paper if I wanted to use both pencils and marker and watercolors, what have you. I love the fact that it's ring bound. Come on, you can do it. Thank you. This is the first image I've colored out of this book too. My only problem is I really wish that this wasn't quite as washed out with the fall leaves around it, but I didn't think about that when I started it. Did do some blending on the leaves and her hair in particular. Had a really nice skin tone, some skin tone markers to use, and I love how it turned out. As I kept working with the blending, I figured out how to make it work on the mixed media paper, so I'm pretty excited about that. We have The Enchanted Journey. Sorry for the shine as well. Coloring book covers do not hold well to direct light. This is one I picked up actually as an auction book, and I think I just paid a few dollars for it. It's a coloring journal, so you get writing prompts for each page, which this one was describe your journey to find love. I would like to eventually be able to go back and fill that stuff in too, because it would be really neat down the road to go back and look through this, like, 5-10 years from now. I wanted to try out my Crayola Blend and Shade colored pencils. They are pretty darn nice. They are definitely softer than your student grade Crayolas, your standard ones. They're not really soft pencils. I mean, after this, I had to really give my hand a break, but it turned out beautifully. You can see all the wax layers. Very nice for layering. This was a fairly decent type of paper, so they responded very well to that. I will be using them again. I actually got the 50 set. They don't go any higher, which is a bit of a disappointment, but excited to use them again. Miss Zoe Archer had Disney Delights as her color along this month. I am very disappointed in myself that this was the only Disney picture that I colored. I did do this on camera, filmed it. I think I was trying to call it a carefree coloring, but the title was going to be way too long. So it does say Disney Delights on it if you want to see that video. Very simple coloring. I used the pack of the shuttle art markers I had gotten. I had picked up some spares because I really like them. I like the Cali arts too. I think there's not a huge amount of difference between them for me when laying them down on the paper. The thing that makes me lean more towards the shuttle arts is they actually have the color names on the end. And well, there you go. And for someone that hasn't like officially swatched their colors, that's extremely helpful. Now, the name doesn't always match what color comes out, but at least gets me in the ballpark. The Cali arts just have a number on the end. And same, whoop, there went one of my blicks. Same situation where the cap doesn't always match what the marker actually is. I did figure out they had color names on them like 2 months ago. It's on the barcode label, but it's still hard to see it. If you had them swatched, it's a whole lot easier to use probably the Cali arts, but you can say that for either one. I like the shuttle arts a lot, though. So there was that one. She turned out really nice, too. I was worried I went way too off with her skin color, and it turned out perfect. Next, last one. Cats Color by Number. I've been dying to start in this book. Again, want to do this one front to back. This is by George Tufexis? I don't know. It's a Creative Haven book. They do give you example pages. The very first one is the one that I did. I'm not sure how to pronounce that name. Abyssinian? Maybe. These are breed-specific cats, though they do have just your standard, like, domestic tabbies in here as well. So this was my very first page in this book, and also the first page in the actual book. These are pretty detailed. The numbers are also very difficult to see unless you have a very strong light. The line art is a lighter gray, so just keep that in mind. This will be the next one I work on. Very juicy markers. I use pretty much everything I have in the inventory. Shuttle arts, Cali arts, Prismas, Sharpies, Bics, Blicks. I think that's it. Yeah, I would say I have Copics too, but I try not to use those unless I'm really planning to try to blend, since those are pretty expensive, and at least you can get refills with them though. All right, very last one. Goodness. So earlier this week, Monday. Wow, it feels like it's been 2 weeks. It really has. There's some days I can't believe how fast time's going by, and other days where I feel like it has been ages and ages when it's only been like a month. So earlier this week, I showed a review for 2 sets of colored pencil, the So Color and the Color pencils. And this is the book that I used to test those in. This is a JADE Summer book yet again. Surprise, surprise. This is part of their beginner series, Flowers for Beginners. Really nice pictures. They are a little more simplistic and not quite as complex. And I believe there are 50 unique images in this one, which is really kind of nice. So in that video, what I did was I had colored, the pictures looked like this to start. And basically what I did was I colored 4 different ones. I think that's right. Yep. Oh, it's going to have fun with this. Sorry, my autofocus. But like, here's the Color pencils against like a Crayola, just to see what the differences are. I also have a Prisma and Arteza one. The So Colors, what I did was I went ahead and finished out the picture. I used the same methods that I've been using. I went ahead and finished each flower that hadn't been finished in the way that I had started out. So that's why there are 2 distinct differences in the color here. This was used with a white over the color, and then this was just a straight color blue. And then I kept the different types of blending there too. The only thing I did differently was I just added this blend of color. There you go. With the wax-based pencils, you get a lot of shine, so you have to be a little careful of that. But there, that's a little better. The blend on this was yet another 3-color blend from the So Color set, and it turned out, I mean, it's gorgeous. I picked a brown, kind of a pine green color, and then a slightly like a true, more of a just plain green color, and it turned out gorgeous. That brown was a really good call. So I finished it out, and then I used a black Pitt pen on the background, which is why there's a bunch of lines. That's more me trying to get that background down and not being very patient. My plan is to finish out all these pictures and then add a few more as I work in like Castle Art and some other ones. That way we can see all these side by side finished out. And not only can you see the differences between the brands, but I want to show that it doesn't really matter what type of pencil set you have. If you have colored pencils and if you have a Jade Summer book, even if it's Crayola pencils and a $4 Jade Summer book, or a $3 book you got at Dollar General, which, hey, those Bending books actually have some pretty nice paper. It's toothy, but it's good thick paper. But you could use your set of Crayolas on a book like this, and you can still make something really pretty. I mean, you don't have to have the best, most expensive pencils out there to make something pretty. I'm personally not keeping the So Color pencils, and those are part of a giveaway that is on my channel. If you haven't already seen it, it will be drawn Thursday, I believe. Yeah, I think that's right. Anyway, I still finished out the picture with them, and look, I mean, it turned out beautiful. It really did. So that was the very last one I finished, and I wanted to get that one done since I knew the pencils were going away. I did note they are very gently used. That is the only picture, and a few little pieces of a picture in a Kirby Rosanna's book is really the only thing I've used them on. Being a harder pencil, they actually didn't go burn down as much as like a Prisma would, which is a pro for these types of pencils. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed. This was a whole lot of pages. Hopefully you all stayed well hydrated. And one thing I was going to do. Where did I put it? Dang it. I knew this was going to happen. All right. Might as well go ahead and make this close to an hour, right? Oh, there it is. So we're going to go ahead and try to have a little bit of a schedule, because I have a planner. I've got to start writing stuff down. I told y'all earlier today I have a 10-second memory, it seems, and that's the absolute truth. So, Carefree Coloring, I may record it during the day Saturday. It will be loaded on Sunday. This will be the book I'm coloring out of. This is Christmas Mandalas by Jade Summer. This will be my first official holiday book of the season. My plan is probably to use markers. Yeah. If time permits, because these are fairly, well, depending on the one you select, they are fairly simple images, depending on my time. I've had some people mention they would really like to see me use colored pencils on video. I haven't really been doing that because I'm very slow when I color with colored pencils, but it's been a while since I've done a marker base with pencil on top. And John had recommended these pencils to go with a marker base in the Jade Summer books. And speaking of Christmas presents, I ended up getting this set of the Fila pencils. So I'm really excited to test these out as well. I will be testing those in the Flowers book. I'm going to be doing quite a few reviews this month, I hope. Now that I have kind of a plan in place, it should go a whole lot faster. So that will be what's happening Sunday. I would love to make this a live stream. Not ruling that out entirely, but as of right now, probably not. Then Monday, I'm going to start another color and chat series. I am not 100% sure what I'm doing in that yet. As a whip, I wanted to show y'all real quick. Chibi Girls Grayscale. I got this one last Monday or Tuesday. I went ahead and started working on the very first page, and this is what I have so far. I know when it comes to like fairies and things like that, I apparently have a desire to color them in all kinds of different colors. I think the fairy I colored in Marjorie Sarnett's book was green, and then this one, of course, is blue. I'm really trying to use lighter colors. And, I mean, Grayscale's great, but even I'm still learning with it. So I wanted to go really light with the marker to see what I could get. And if I don't feel like I can go any darker with a marker, I could always add pencil into this one as well. The Autumn Scenes book, other than that, was really the only major work in progress I had, and I don't have that much left. So look, by the way, the dog and the cat turned out amazing. The cat I actually blended using, I think it was my Copics, a whole bunch of different grays. I think I went with the warm grays for the cat. I usually reach for cold grays, so that was interesting. Cat turned out gorgeous. The dog turned out great. I love this picture, but for some reason, I have a block on finishing it. As you can see, all I have left is to what am I trying to say here? A wash of one of my Tombow markers to get the base there, and then go in with Distress ink to create this grain effect. I need to do something to create a grain effect with that, and I need to figure out what I'm doing with the window itself. I mean, it probably wouldn't take me a couple hours to finish this. I don't know why I'm blocking out on it. I just don't, for some reason, have no desire to go back to it. Still working on the title page in Cats, or the nameplate pages. Again, this was kind of a tester. This is one side. This was Tombow's watercolor pencils, and then the gel pens. I think it was the pen gears. Even the Tombos bled through if I used them too much. So keep that in mind. This is very smooth paper, and it's a good thickness, but it does bleed. And then this side I'm working on colored pencils, and so far I like what I'm seeing. This book you will be seeing pictures in this book this next month. If not more than one, then definitely one. This picture in Peter Pan, I wanted to get done this month. I could not get to it. It will happen in December. I will be using my Tombows, and I already have a color scheme in mind. I love this picture. The moment I saw it, I knew I wanted to color it. Last but not least, I am following a tutorial series that Peta Hewitt is doing on her Patreon page and on YouTube. It is using Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils, which I have, but I haven't used very much. And this is out of World of Flowers, which I love, as I believe everybody does. Problem is, I still hadn't had time to color in it. So I am following her tutorial. I've just barely gotten started. We're working with the background, and that's what I've got so far. I love it. It's turning out beautiful, and she's great at the tutorial. It's just, I'm not used to the polychromos because they aren't really super soft, and I'm used to more softer. Oh my goodness. I'm used to softer pencils. So, I really want to get back to this. If I wasn't exhausted, I promise y'all I would be picking up my pencils and turning on the rest of that video. So I love Peta's pictures. I love her pictures, but I also love her videos. She was the very first person I watched on YouTube that colored. She's also an artist. I absolutely love her. I will put her YouTube channel in the description. I don't know if I'm going to put all these books in the description. If I do, I will have to update it on Saturday because, oh my goodness. No, I might just put, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not putting timestamps. No. I don't think I even do that for completed pages, but I can tell y'all right now it ain't going to happen for this one, even if I did. I will try to put at least the links to the books. A lot of my previous flip throughs include these books, but not all of them. I didn't do a flip through of World of Flowers, for instance, because everybody and their brother has done a flip through of World of Flowers. And that's great because the more people that do it, the more people get to see it. I just didn't think I needed to add mine to the list. Now, if anybody really does want to see it, please tell me. I'll be happy to do so. Anyway, guys, hope y'all enjoyed. This was a fun month for coloring for me. I got to challenge myself a lot. I got to break out of my markers just a little bit. I got some really cool Christmas presents, which I've mentioned a couple, but there are a couple that I haven't. And this video is already so long. We'll probably just do a separate video. I may wait till some of the books come in too. Actually, heck, I'm just going to go ahead and show y'all. So I told you the watercolor pencils were like one of my big Christmas presents that my husband got me. He has been so supportive of this channel, by the way. Me and him both, when we first started, or when I first started this, did not think that it was going to pan out because we all knew what YouTube's usually like. And even he has been surprised, not only by the support, but by just how positive the community's been. I mean, you're going to have bad apples in every bunch. You're going to have people that just they're miserable. They want everybody else to be miserable. They like drama. They want everybody else to deal with drama. But it's still a positive community. Even my husband's been amazed. Plus, I think he's proud of me for actually sticking with something that's not computer games or reading. I'm getting back in the computer games more too. Like, I needed something else to take up my time. I get like 2 weeks off though in December. So y'all can only imagine the amount of coloring that's going to come out of all that. I am feeling better though. I actually didn't color as much this week because I was up doing stuff and being productive. And I'll talk more about that in the Carefree Coloring. But I'm going to show you this. So the Blick Studio markers. Oh yeah, I forgot about those too. Those were my Christmas present to me because there was a really good deal. And for some reason, if you bought the individual markers instead of the 96 complete set, you could get almost all of them for cheaper because you could get a discount on the individual markers. And I didn't need the grays or some of the other ones because I already have plenty of grays. I have no more room for gray markers. Now, as I phase some of these out, I might get them eventually, but I can get those at their own set. So I got just about every Blick marker I don't have other than the grays, and I'm super excited. I won't get those till like December 10th, so I guess I'll show those then. Anyway, this was my other present from my husband, and I'm going to show you all this. I didn't even open it. I hadn't had time. Trying to take away some of the shine. You can read it, though. Yes, you were seeing this correctly. This, I believe, it is a 52 superset. Now, whether this is a complete set, I do not know. I think it is based on what I saw, but I will have to double check. And these are the ones that blend, of course. I'm very intimidated by these, but I'm very excited. They even came in this really nice case. These will be in their own case. These will be staying safe in their own case because this is too nice a case to like get rid of. No, these will be in their own little case and safe and sound. I can't wait to try these, but I am very, very intimidated by them too. Amazon had a Black Friday like weekend deal, and $50 was knocked off of these. I think I got these for $100, and I have not seen them go below $125. So those I wasn't even really expecting until I saw that. So yes, I am lots of stuff to show you this month. Like I said, this was one of the things that really saved me this month was coloring. In November, I was pretty much the sickest I'd ever been consistently, and I was miserable. I got, of course, that diagnosis, but I didn't get any answers as to what I could do. I've met some wonderful ladies through this channel that are also suffering from gastroparesis. And they've been a huge help. They've made me feel like I'm not necessarily alone. And it's really nice to have people to kind of talk about it with and see what works for some, what works for others and stuff. So thank you to both of you. I won't name names, but thank you to both of you for reaching out and telling me about that, because I really appreciate it. But I'm telling you, coloring, it was hard for me to get up off the couch most of the month. I felt so bad. And coloring was really my outlet and my way to get my mind off of feeling nauseous all the time and everything. And it did. It saved my bacon, y'all. I mean, oh, yeah. I completely forgot to tell you. See, this is what happens when you record at 5 o'clock in the morning. Guys, I had a slice of cheese pizza tonight. Now, some of you are like, okay, congratulations. But no, for months, it all started that I thought I was lactose intolerant. 4 months ago, or 4 and change now, probably closer to 5 at the rate we're going. But 5 months ago, I started out, I was thinking I was lactose intolerant because dairy was the first thing to really start setting me off. And I got to the point where I hadn't eaten cheese in like 2 months because I was terrified to. That was like the thing that made me react the worst out of anything. And tonight, after taking this new medicine my doctor prescribed me, I've been on it for about a week. My husband really wanted to order out pizza, and he didn't want to. I said, order me a small pizza, and I'm going to try it. I took my medicine. I had plenty of fluids, plenty of water to drink with it. Went very slow, ate just 1 slice. And guys, no nausea, no like running to the bathroom and getting sick just from movement. Y'all just don't know. I mean, I almost cried. Now, I'm not going to run there and eat 5 slices of pizza or anything, but I know now that I can, and I was terrified to even try it because that was some miserable, miserable time for me. But I'm glad I did, because now I know I can, and just like how much of a difference a week has made in my life. So before I start tearing up, I'll talk about this more on Carefree Coloring. I'm going to record that here later today. And like I said, I will post that on Sunday. Hope y'all enjoyed. Sorry for all the last minute stuff at the end, but I know those of you that really like the long videos, you're probably the ones that were kind of curious about some of this anyway. So I'll talk to you guys soon, and good night and bye for now.